Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Shiva Ayaduri. Michelle's helping me. Michelle, you can stay there. We're on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope. I hope everyone's having a good Friday evening. Michelle, as people are logging in, maybe you can just read out who's coming in. We'll be waiting for people to sign in. We have a very important follow-up today on the election fraud in Massachusetts, which should be of concern to all people. So as people log in, we'll be announcing them. We also have a special guest here. We have Dr. Venu from Texas joining us. Hey, Venu, how are you?
Hi, everyone. Doing well. Thank you.
Good. Dr. Venu, some of you may know, is a gastroenterologist down in Texas. He's been manning our volunteer team, out-of-state volunteer team, but he also has some insights on, the notion of records and images, which are very, very important in the medical field. So we'll be bringing him in to help us further give an unequivocal understanding of the fact that what they did in deleting these electronic ballot images, which are the ballots, when they go through electronic equipment, how egregious that is and how it's a federal crime, and that no one should stand for it. So we have people joining us from Melbourne, Australia, New York. Who do we have there, Michelle? We have Ohio, Canada, Louisiana.
They haven't been saying their
Okay, so those of you on
states, so
Instagram,
just
please
say
let us know
hello.
where you're from, so you can say hello to us. Let me see what we have here. Kick their asses. Someone's saying Venu and Shiva. Yes, that's what everyone should be doing. We should all go kick their asses. That's the right attitude from Pamela Goodman out of New York. Hawaii here. Excellent. Hawaii is, by the way, is one of the most corrupt states, very close to Massachusetts. I think they're number 2 and 3. So sorry about that. Hyannis says they love us. Awesome.
Florida,
That's Wayland, Massachusetts. Hey, Susie, how are you? We have Franklin. By the way, Franklin, Massachusetts got 3,000 ballots that were missing, and I think they're still counting them. Okay, that's the level of BS that goes on. By the way, we have Hyannis, Roselyn, as you know, the incredibly corrupt Kennedys live there. What is it, Michelle?
There's a lot of so Weymouth, Mass.
Oh, excellent.
Florida.
We have Weymouth.
South Miguel Island, the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. Milwaukee, New York.
Okay.
Silicon Valley, California.
Wonderful.
Connecticut, Texas, Colorado.
Anyway, we have a lot of people joining in. We're up to around 600 people here. How many people we got there, Michelle? The numbers? Can you see next to the eyeball? Gives a number.
70.
Okay, so we have about close to 70, 80 people joining in. So we'll wait a couple minutes, but as people are coming in, everyone knows that we are not backing down from the fraud that took place, from the stealing of an election that took place, not just to me, but to the American working people, the people who were on the ground, people who are all over this country who donated to our campaign. And we had a landslide victory. There's no way a doofus who did no campaigning, no lawn signs, no bumper stickers, no organization could ever win unless it was fixed. And that's what happened. And we're going to talk about that. And we have further evidence and proof that election fraud took place by the fact that they destroyed ballots. Okay. And we're going to explain that. And I just had a discussion with the Associated Press reporter who the attorney to the Election Division Counsel was trying to confuse by saying, oh, we don't collect ballot images. Okay. Well, and we're going to talk about that. The ballot images are created. And once they're created, the only way that you can get rid of them is if they're destroyed. There's no issue of collecting or not collecting. It's they were created and they were destroyed. And we'll talk about that. And our goal today is to educate everyone up to the level of fraud that's been going on in the United States and how fat, dumb, and happy all of us have been made because we've all been told, Venezuela is a bunch of cheaters, right? China has a communist party. Uganda had Idi Amin. He ate people and they did election fraud. Ooh, but America never does election fraud. We have the most amazing system. Bullshit. This country has the most egregious, unverifiable election system probably on the planet. And it's been exacerbated because we as Americans are told, oh, we're not a third world country. We're a first world country. What we're going to harp upon over and over and over again is that the election system in this country is completely unverifiable. It's total bullshit. The numbers that you see coming out of an election cannot be verified for multiple reasons. And that's what we're going to make very, very clear across 3 important points that you're going to hear. Let's see. Go to the polls. Yep. Go to the polls. But most importantly, we don't have an election system that's verifiable. Truth, freedom, and health. Exactly. So let me start by, first of all, thanking everyone who's joining us this evening. And first of all, sharing with everyone that our website for U.S. Senate can be accessible at SHIVA, S-H-I-V-A, numeral4 Senate.com. As you know, the election fraud that took place, most people or the establishment thought we'd walk away and say, oh my God, we can't do anything to press. No, we're escalating the movement for truth, freedom, and health to a write-in campaign. And all you have to do to write in, for those of you in Massachusetts, is very simple. Let me bring this card back here. As we're showing in the back of the card right here, it's really simple. When you get your ballot, there are different parts of it, and you can simply write in Dr.SHIVA right there. Let me turn off this light for a second so you can see this. You can write in Dr.SHIVA right here, Senator for Congress, in that hole which says write in space, and then the other things you have to fill in the oval that's right there. Okay, so everyone, if you have friends in Massachusetts, you can take a screenshot of this right now. All they need to do is on their ballots write in Dr.SHIVA and fill in the oval. That's pretty much it. So that's what we want everyone to do, to let everyone know, whether you're in Massachusetts, when you get that ballot, write it in. And by the way, take a picture of your ballot. Apparently you're not supposed to take a picture of your ballots. I say commit to civil disobedience because they're doing illegal activities. Save it on for yourself and keep a record of it. And then submit your ballot because they have to read it by hand. The other thing I want to encourage everyone to do, those of you wherever you are, please become a volunteer. You can click on the volunteer. We need people to make outbound phone calls, and we have a powerful web-based calling system, so it doesn't use your phone. So fill in the details here, your mobile, your email, your city and your state, and click right here, right where it says, I would like to make phone calls. We need people to help make phone calls. So please go right now, those of you wherever you are, inside the United States, outside, to help us make phone calls to let everyone know that this movement for truth, freedom, and health is not backing down. We're escalating to a write-in campaign to expose the election fraud. So please do that. The others of you, wherever you are, can also donate to the campaign. We need to raise a little bit more money, about $250K, to buy TV and radio ads. So when you donate to the campaign, as everyone knows, I don't like to just take your money. You will, if you donate 25 or more, you'll get a great book called System and Revolution, which is an ebook, which will actually teach you what is a system and what is revolution. And then you can also get access to a tool called Your Body, Your System, which is a piece of software that allows you to understand your body as a system. In addition, those of you who are outside of the United States, you're not allowed to donate to a federal campaign, but many of you ask, hey, I really want access to that book and that system. Well, you can go directly to Your Body, Your System, and you can click on this button called Get Started Now. You can order it there. So I want to make sure those of you who join our show from elsewhere can do that. This tool actually helps you understand what kind of system you are, denoted by that red dot and that triangle. The red dot moves around based on your particular body. And then you can figure out how you're deviated from you, which means disturbances that you have that are not allowing you to be you. Maybe you didn't sleep well, etc., or you didn't get the right foods, or you're not getting the right nutrition. That's the black dot. And then you can figure out how to bring your body back to you. But the most important thing is to understand the dynamics of all systems, and your body being one of them. So please take advantage of that. And also it's a way for you to us to reciprocate and you to reciprocate and help the campaign. So please go do that. Let's jump right in and talk about what's going on. So one of the most important things that happened, as you know, is that Dr. Venu, let me bring him in. Dr. Venu was running our call center system, and they were making up, Venu, how many calls did we make up? Over 1 million, right? Over 2 million calls.
We made a bunch of calls.
Yeah, a lot of millions of calls went out. But we also, as part of those calls, we did polling to understand how people were headed. 65% of people said they were going to vote for us. About 20%, said that they were undecided. And on a good day, about only 18% that were going to vote for doofus. So we knew we were headed on a landslide. So we saw those results where the numbers were flipped. We knew that there was some serious fraud that took place. And anyone out in the world, if they come to Massachusetts, they'll say, I voted for Shiva. I voted for Shiva. We never saw a lawn sign. We never saw a bumper sticker of that guy. We didn't even know who that guy was. Right? Venu, how many times we called? We never knew who that guy was.
We kept hearing that over and over again.
Over and over again. So this is what occurs in banana republics. This is what occurs in failed states where the Uniparty or the Communist Party or the Fascist Party selects some fool to run against a real grassroots candidate. We saw that occur in Haiti. We saw that occur in Chile. We saw that occur. And if you type in, I encourage everyone to type in protests, election fraud. And you will see protests take place in Bolivia, in Chile, in Afghan, these so-called quote unquote second and third world countries. Well, the real country, which is the perpetrator of election fraud, is this country. And a number of reasons it takes place. Number one, if you think about it as a system, remember a system as an input and an output. The thing coming into the system is the input. The system does some type of process and it generates an output. Okay, this is basic systems theory. And those of you who want to learn more, you can go get the book System and Revolution, because you need to understand this, because once you understand this, you can understand the nature of all systems. And when you get the book right away, in page 24 of the book, right there, I don't know if you can see that, it teaches you right there, it's a diagram. Let me just shut this off. You can see right there is a system, input, the process and output, okay? So the reason this is important is in the system of voting, the input is completely unverifiable. No one can verify in the United States if you even went and voted. I went and voted. I don't have a receipt. I never gave a voter ID. In fact, I walked into the booth and I walked in, they didn't even ask me for my license. They said, what address do you live in? I could have given any address. I went and voted and that was it. So the input is unverifiable. There's no evidence I voted, okay? Number two, the process they have in those machines, and you can go see the previous videos that we've done. In those videos, it clearly, we show by the work of Bev Harris, Benny Smith, John Brakey, and others who've been talking about this. Unfortunately, they don't have the reach that we've been fortunate to be able to develop, is that they have shown that in those systems, starting in 2001, they put a feature in those systems that my vote, your vote, the candidates' votes are not stored as a whole number. They're stored as a decimal. And you really have to let this sit in. Why is a vote is not one person, one vote. And one person could be a half a vote, a tenth of a vote. It's stored as a decimal variable, completely a setup for fraud. And when I found out about that, I said, oh my God, these guys have set up a system that they can invoke fraud at will. That means they can multiply my votes. Let's say I got 200,000 votes by 0.5, give me 100,000. They could take Doofus's vote, who only got 100, maybe 50,000, maybe 100,000, multiplied by 1.5. Okay. So now when they do that, according to the software, when they do that, the ballot images get destroyed. So let me explain that. There are two kinds of ballots. One ballot is you take the actual paper, you fill it out, and you hand it to a human being who reads the ballot, and it's called a hand-counted vote, okay? In that case, the physical paper that you gave is the thing that was counted, okay? So the ballot, legally and procedurally and by all material fact, is the thing that was counted, okay? So if I fill something out and I give it to a human being who counts it, that's the ballot. Now in 51 towns about in Massachusetts, they're hand counted. Now the other 300 towns in Massachusetts, the ballot, the paper, is put through a machine. And the electronic equipment, and you have to listen very carefully, because a lot of journalists get confused because of the establishment's lies. But that paper, which is a paper, and Dr. Venu will shortly give a medical analogy, that paper is converted into, the instant it goes through the scanner, into what's called a ballot image. An image, many of you know, it's, you take a picture. If I take a picture of this thing, that's an image. Now that image is not counted by a human being, it's counted by a machine, which looks for that little circle as we talked about. And it says, oh, there's a circle for Dr. Shiva. Check, he gets a vote. Oh, there's a circle for Dr. Venu. He gets a vote. but the ballot image, the image is being counted. At that instant, that image becomes the ballot. Everyone got it? The hand count vote, the paper is the ballot, but when it goes through that machine, it gets converted to a ballot image, and that ballot image is counted. That ballot image is the ballot, period. There's no equivocation on it. And by federal law, by the United States Code, which we shared with the press and others, it says that that image must be stored for 22 months. Okay? Must be stored by federal law. Well, guess what the scumbags in Massachusetts have done? This very, very swampy place, they do not save the ballot image. And in fact, the paper that was used to generate that is sealed so no one can access it. Okay? So think about that. The paper is sealed, and I have the actual letter from the lawyer confirming that. Okay, I can bring it up. Vader, do you think it's good I bring that up? Share with people?
Sure.
Yeah, let me bring that up. I think I have it right here. I think it'd be good for everyone to see this. So we finally, the lawyer got very scared thinking we were going to completely expose her. So look at this letter from the lawyer. What does it say? So I have the email. I asked her for the ballot images. Where are they? And the record request. Now, this person thinks we're a fool. Look at her title, Director and Legal Counsel, Elections Division. She says, good morning. I am writing to acknowledge receipt of your request for records, which was for the ballot images. And in that request, now she doesn't answer the question, okay? She says, please note this office does not maintain voter tabulation software, firmware, hardware. We never even asked her about that. While this office certifies voting equipment as required by law, we do not purchase or lease equipment. We never asked her about that. This is like a kid who you ask, where's your homework, starts talking about something else. Once equipment is approved by this office, cities and towns can purchase or lease such equipment. Accordingly, the office has no records response to your request, but this is the meat of it. Further, to the extent you request the same information, which means the ballot images from election officials, please note that the approval of digital scan equipment in Massachusetts specifically prohibits the capturing of ballot images. Capturing a ballot images, what's she talking about? The ballot images are not captured. The ballot images exist at the instant it's put through the scanner. They are created, okay? So that's a lie right there. The instant that you could put it in, they're created. If they're not saved, that means they were actively destroyed. So in response to her email, okay, to her email, I wrote back to her and I said the following. I said, Michelle, kindly refer me to the statute or law in which the approval of digital scan equipment in Massachusetts specifically prohibits the capturing of ballot images. Thank you in advance. Well, this morning I got a message back. It says Shiva, and this doesn't make any sense. Again, she's referring to ballot machines, which I'm not, it's irrelevant. Attached, please find the certification of 2 different types of digital scan equipment. This is where it gets more interesting. She almost waits into the second paragraph. The first one's a child trying to divert the teacher. This one says, please note that while the ballot images are not stored, the actual ballots, as though thinks we're stupid because the ballots are the ballot images, voted on any of federal elections are secured and stored for 22 months in accordance with federal law. However, under state law, those ballots must remain sealed until such time they can be destroyed, okay? So, by the way, federal law cannot supersede state law. I mean, state law cannot supersede federal law. If federal law says murder is a crime, state law cannot say murder is not a crime. It's complete bullshit. But the most important thing to understand is this, that the ballot images are not stored. You see how clever she's trying to be? Are not stored. No, what she should say is the ballot images were destroyed. And why do I say that? Why do we say that? Remember, the ballot images, a vote cannot be counted. It cannot be counted. It cannot be counted on the electronic equipment. As John Brakey, one of the experts in this, has said, is unless a ballot image is created. So it goes through the scanner. A ballot image must be created. And then the machine counts it. It must be created. Well, once it got created, it's not an issue of storing or not. It got created. That means they destroyed it. And at that instant, when the image got created, which is 95%, 98% of the images of the ballots in Massachusetts, well, you have to store them. You have to save them by federal law because it's part of the process of the electronic records requirement by federal law. Well, they destroyed them because it did get created, it got destroyed. Boehner, do you want to speak to that from the analogy of medical records?
Yeah. So in my line of work in medicine, pretty much everything that has to do with record keeping has become digitized, whether it's in my clinic where I have my own electronic health record, or whether you're in the hospital and you're looking at the electronic medical record of a patient and a number of physicians are participating in looking at the chart. That record, that digital health record, is how we actually make actionable decisions. That's the official health record. So if you destroy that record, you've just destroyed the official health record. Now, we have strict guidelines. In my state, we have to keep that digital health record for 7 years. And so if we destroy it, we're in big trouble if we destroy that. So the important point here, the important analogy is that it's the digital record that we're using in medicine to take actionable steps. That is the health record. Now, I can drop it down to paper and have that as a backup, but it's the electronic record that is actually the record. And in this case here, in terms of the ballots, as Dr. Shiva is saying, the digital ballot itself, the digital image, is the actionable aspect. It's the actionable medium that's actually being counted. The paper ballots aren't being counted. So it's the digital image that must be stored for 22 months.
It is the ballot. It is the ballot. It is the ballot.
That is the ballot.
It is the ballot.
Just like the medical chart, the electronic medical chart is the official health record.
Yeah, because you can manipulate that. By the way, the software has abilities, as Bev Harris told me, that when it's going through that machine, they have features to actually change the image, which they don't talk about. And why is those features even in there? So they could, let's say, move that dot that was for me somewhere else. All right? The image is the ballot. The image is the ballot. If the glove does not fit, you must acquit, right? So if there is no image, there is no elections. It was a fraudulent election because if you didn't save the ballot images, you destroyed the ballots, there is no freaking election. And by the way, what is really important to understand is I've been programming since I was a 14-year-old kid. I understand this. I've been a systems guy, all right? I understand imaging. One of my degrees is from the MIT Media Lab on images. So they have a serious problem here. They really screwed up. They think they're dealing with fools. They store our votes as a decimal number, brought to you by the good work of Benny Smith, Bev Harris, and John Brakey. We know for a fact that the ballot images were destroyed. They're trying to play around, not stored, not collected. No, you freaking destroyed it because it existed at a point in time. And even if it existed for a millisecond, according to federal law, it must be saved because it is a thing that was used for counting. And we should not give them an inch on this. So we can't find the ballot images. And then the actual paper things are sealed. How convenient for Massachusetts. They can manipulate any election they want when someone like us comes bottoms up, a true man of the people or true person of the people. That's why, as we titled here, this is a federal crime that they did. It is election fraud. It's the election fraud of most egregious nature, probably more egregious than anything in history as we know in modern history. And this occurred in Massachusetts, where you have tech places like MIT. You have supposedly all the academic elite who look the other way. We're not going to let them get away. Next Friday at 1 p.m. at the 1 Ashburton Place, we're going to have more people coming. I don't care if you're far left, far right. I don't care what political persuasion you are, whether you're black or white, what color you are, whether if you're pro-black supremacy, pro-white supremacy, just to be on the extreme. All of us do not want election fraud. None of us. This is something that brings everyone together on the same singular issue, that the state, that the establishment has one rule for them and another rule for us, and they can steal elections. So if you want to unify around something that's really important to democracy, whatever political persuasion you are, Republican, Democrat, Independent, doesn't matter. 1 p.m. this coming Friday. Vena, what is this Friday? What date is that? Is that October 1st? Or September 30th? I forget.
Yeah, that's October 2nd.
October 2nd, Friday. We're going to get more and more and more people here. We want to galvanize a bottoms-up movement that we will stop election fraud. And everyone must know that I'm right. Everyone should tell all their friends, wherever they are in Massachusetts, to pick up their pens like a swift sword and write in Dr. Shiva in the box on the ballot and circle it in. That's what we need. Get this out to millions of people. Anyone listening here, tell 10 of your friends, and tell those 10 friends to 10 others in Massachusetts. So let me look at some questions, but unequivocally, they destroyed ballots because they destroyed the thing that was used for counting, which is the ballot images, which are the ballots. And Venu, do you want to add anything in the medical world?
Yeah, I mean, the other analogy I'll make is in terms of, let's say, clinical research. Many of you may have heard about the hydroxychloroquine controversy. We had the two most prestigious journals in the world, Lancet and the New England Journal of Medicine, publish an article saying hydroxychloroquine is ineffective for coronavirus. Now, those articles were retracted from the two most prestigious journals in medicine. Why? Because when people asked about the methods and the data that was input into the trial to determine the results, the data, they couldn't come up with the data. You couldn't verify the data. So when you do a trial, you're always looking at the methods. And if you can't verify or replicate or understand the methods that are going in, it doesn't matter what the results are. The whole trial has to be thrown out because the results cannot be verified by the input that went in to actually report the results. So this notion of proof, prove this election fraud. No, the burden of proof is not on the person actually looking at the results. The results have to be verified by the methods used to generate those results. If they can't reliably do that, there are no results. There are no official results.
Yeah, and I think we have Michelle joining us here. Michelle comes from a background in healthcare also.
Mm-hmm.
And in the field that Michelle's in, whenever you do an analysis, I'm not going to tell the work you do, but when you do an analysis on something,
Mm-hmm.
Michelle, you go through a methodology, right?
Yes.
And that methodology, you have to follow a very particular SOP, standard of process, they call it, right?
Yeah.
And standard of procedure. I'm sorry.
Standard operating procedure.
Yeah, it's called SOPs. In every industry, there's an SOP. Just look up the word standard operating procedure. So if you're supposed to put a computer together, if you're supposed to do a scientific experiment, as Dr. Venu said in the methodology section of the paper, they say, first you take A, then you mix it with B, and then you get C,
Mhm.
and then you get D. Now, the D is a result that you publish, right?
Right.
In your thing, when you do diagnosis, in your
Mhm.
field, you put together a final result.
Correct.
And if someone says, Michelle, how did you get this result? You better be able to
Back it
backtrack.
up. Yeah.
The chain of custody, right? Go all
Yeah.
the way back.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, that result is invalidated. And if a customer comes and says, Michelle, I don't agree with this, it's your responsibility, not the
Right.
customer's.
Yeah.
So the point here is we are the customers of the end result of what we call these election results. They should be able to prove within seconds.
Mm-hmm.
When my company does an audit, I better be able to prove the revenue and thing I have to prove it if the IRS comes.
Mm-hmm.
Not like they have to prove to me, okay? I have to prove it. In every other field, audits take place in science, in engineering, in biology, and we can't prove. By the way, Michelle and her team, you had Jeremy on. Michelle, you may just want to let people know how much work you guys did on the ground and how we didn't even see this guy out there.
Yeah, I mean, it all started in the wintertime when we were collecting signatures and letting people know, giving out cards then, letting people know about Dr. Shiva running for U.S. Senate. And the response was really good then. And then we were doing standouts in all the different towns with signs. We had lots of people. We had a lot of fun doing that as well. But sometimes we would bring music and do a little dancing.
Michelle, the important thing is you work for a living, right?
Yeah, I work
Dr.
full-time.
Vena, you work for a living, right?
Our volunteers they all work full time. No one gets paid on this campaign. So this is just, mothers, fathers, individuals, just people, everyday working people that were coming out after work to do standouts, to collect signatures, put out lawn signs. We had so many lawn signs. I don't know the exact number.
Close
but
to 6,000 to
close
10.
to
Yeah.
6 to 10,000 lawn signs, small ones, big ones, in all the towns.
Bumper stickers. Yeah.
Bumper stickers. It was just the the amount of visibility that we had in the state and have even now. That's why we're able to do the WriteIn campaign, because we have that visibility and we already have the support, and we want to win this election for ourselves, for the workers of Massachusetts, for all of us. This isn't about Dr. Shiva, although it is about Dr. Shiva, but it is about us winning this, right? The election fraud, we can't put up with that. We have to still go out and vote and write in Dr. Shiva and win the election. There's no other option. We can't just hide our heads in the sand and get sad and woe is me. No. Now we fight back. We write in his name. We win this election. And we're still out there working hard. We're still out meeting people. We're still getting pledges. We're still putting up new lawn signs. We're adding the write-in to lawn signs we already had.
We have close to
making phone calls. It's just the amount of people and support that we have it's great.
And I think Vena will tell you, thank you, Michelle, we have close to another 600 lawn sign requests that have come in just in the past 2 weeks. So this is not going to die away, which is what they want to do. They think that they bamboozle people. I mean, if you read that email, this is the counsel, the chief legal counsel for the elections division, bullshitting us. It's literally like a child. We ask her a question.
She doesn't answer the question.
She doesn't answer the question. Where's your homework? Well, did you see the game yesterday? It was such a wonderful basketball game. You know? That's what
how
these
it
people are
reads.
doing.
It really is.
Yeah, you know, she's talking about voting equipment. That's nothing to do with the voting equipment, okay? It's like a Jerky Boy skit or something bringing us into. This is the fact that they destroyed ballots. And they're trying to play with language. The bottom line is the ballot is the ballot image. At the instant that was starting to use for votes, that is a ballot, period. There's no compromise on that. There's no equivocation on that. It is the ballot, period. And by federal law, they're supposed to save that.
And look, we know the truth. We know the truth, and we're not going to put up with it. We're going to go out and we're going to vote. We're going to write in Dr. Shiva. We're going to fill in a little bubble, and we're going to write in Dr. Shiva.
Great. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah.
Let me see. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Let's see who else we got here. Asking any questions. Hi, Dr. Shiva. Keep them putting up everywhere. Yes. So as Anu says, keep them putting up everywhere. Write in Dr. Shiva. Send us lots of money wherever you have, because we got to buy some more billboard ads. We got to do some more, some more TV and radio ads. We have about less than 20 days to get this out there, but we actually have only about 10 days because the mail-in ballots are going to be happening, and we have to let people know that when they get it, they have to put in that, write in right there. And part of what we want to do is we want to get this out on TV, radio, obviously through you, everyone on social media. Please make this go viral. Share this with all your friends. Everyone sitting at home right now, all about 700 of you live here, can do the simple act. Use your social media, use your Instagram, use your Twitter, etc., to let people know. Whatever you can donate, support the campaign. And remember, we reciprocate in this campaign by giving you information, but this is your campaign. This is no longer just about fighting forced vaccinations or fighting big tech. This is about election fraud. This is what it's about. It's about the fact, are we slaves? Are we counted as 3/5 of a vote? Or is there one person, one vote? Because they can manipulate that number. They store it as decimals, as Benny Smith and Bev Harris have brought out. All right, let's see. Someone says federal prison for federal crimes. Exactly. If you or I did this, we'd be in prison. We'd be in prison. Mm-hmm. Why is it one rule for us and another rule for them?
Exactly.
That's what the issue is. Exactly. Are we a bunch of peasants and they're nobody? By the way, we were at the Ashburton place, which is the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General was out there doing a PR thing. And it was just totally coincidental. We showed up. And you know what she's doing? When she's getting on camera, she puts on her mask. And they just imposed a law in Cambridge that you're going to have to wear a mask starting October 2nd everywhere on the street. But she takes off her mask when she's hanging out puts it on, and we have it on camera. This is the Attorney General. One rule for them and another rule for us. Screw these scumbags. We are people. We're human beings. They stole a federal election, and we're not going to let them get away with it. If you're going to get angry about something, and you don't get angry about this, like I said, you might as well salute goodbye to any type of democracy we have, because the right to vote was the ultimate thing that gave us suffrage, the right to move beyond being a slave, where we have no say. And the fact is, they went one step forward, gave us a right to vote, and went 2 steps backward by manipulating stuff on the background. Okay? Back end. They destroyed ballots. That's what they did. And then they have all these ways their lawyers try to hide it. But bottom line, they destroy ballots. And as Dr. Vanu was saying, if you're in the healthcare industry and you're a doctor, you destroyed that electronic image of the paper. What is that, Vanu? That's 70. It's a federal crime, isn't it?
Well, it's a state crime. I mean, you'll be coming before the board if you can't produce records.
Right. Someone is asking, have you contacted the federal office? Look, here's a view. I encourage everyone else to do that. What we're doing is we're galvanizing people bottoms up. We know that's the only way to go after these guys. I file lawsuits. Many of you file lawsuits. They want us to just do the lawsuit thing. It'll be a little blip in the news and it's gone. No, we want to be a thorn at their sides 24/7. That's what we want to be. And that happens by all of us galvanizing, showing up this Friday and the next Friday and the next Friday at that location. 1 Ashburton Place in Boston. That's where the scumbag Secretary of State is. That's where the Attorney General is. That's where all of those people are who think that they are aristocrats. No, they are our servants. We pay them. They do what we want. They give us the answers that we want, not the answers that they want. It's not how it works. And we have been brainwashed to think we should be scared of them. No, they should be fearful of us. They need the fear of God put into them. That's what we're going to do. That's what we must do. It's our duty as citizens. As Connie says, we need to get angry and loud. Exactly, Sandy. Exactly. Crystal, yep, thank you. And as Connie says, write in Dr.SHIVA. It's really easy. That's all you need to do. Someone says, is there a law against every person that votes taking a picture on their ballot? Look, take a picture of your ballot. This is a good time for civil disobedience. Why did they put a law in that you can't take a picture of your own ballot, but they don't say ballot images? Why is that? Because they don't want you to document what you voted, because they can manipulate votes. Screw them. Talk about civil disobedience. That's your ballot. Take a picture. Take a picture of your ballot. It's your right. It's your ballot. They can't pass laws like that. I didn't vote for that. The scumbags among them voted for stuff like that so they could do insider trading. No, it's your ballot. You freaking take a picture of it. You save it. Screw them. Do civil disobedience, because when they're illegal and they do illegal activities, their laws no longer have any type of reality because they don't even follow their own laws. They should have saved the ballot images. So they don't want to save the ballot images. They don't want me to save the ballot images. Why? So nothing is verifiable. This would be like in science. You do an experiment and you throw away the data and you just publish the results. Oh, yeah, the sun goes around the earth. Oh, really? Can you show it to me? No, the sun goes around the earth. Believe me, I'm the Catholic Church. You got to believe me because I wear that hood on my head and I wear this robe. That's why you got to believe me. It's not how it works. You got to save the data. If they don't save the data, we as citizens save the data. Let them put all of us in jail. Let's see what happens there. Screw them. Commit civil disobedience, because when they do illegal activities, we have the right to stand up for what's right. Charlie Baker, by the way, is one of the most masterminds who's a governor. His Mass GOP organization shredded the ballots in 2014 of Mark Fisher. Go read about it. And that's why Trump hit Baker hard, because he knows who he is. He's a rhino, and the Mass GOP, which is a GOP man, are a bunch of scumbag rhinos. They're not. So I don't want to hear anyone saying Shiva is going to split the vote. No, the Republicans and Democrats in Massachusetts are one. If you want to vote for truth, freedom, and health, you must write in Shiva. All right. Block all lawyer scam portals. Okay. My heart is with you. Thank you. Okay. Anything else, Venu? Any last things? Anyway, I appreciate everyone. Again, keep an eye out for the campaign. Everyone be active citizens. Do everything you can to get the message out. that were writing in. Have your friends support the campaign, volunteer, donate. If possible, do all three.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Vanu. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
There's Justin. Thanks, Justin. Good to see you. Anyone else? Okay, excellent. Excellent. Great. Be well. Have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.